I'm Jordan from Katie, coming to you from the International AIDS Conference here in Montreal, AIDS 2022. Back in 2016, UNAIDS launched an ambitious plan to eliminate HIV as a public health threat by 2030. Many countries signed on to participate, including Canada, to meet targets then known as 90-90-90 and now known as 95-95-95. So how are we doing? I spoke to Deputy Executive Director of UNAIDS, Eamon Murphy, to find out what's going well and where we're falling behind.
As we saw with the Global AIDS update released this week, we are way off track. The 90-90-90 targets, which have just been superseded by the 95-95-95 targets, were not met in most places. We have countries that met one or two of the targets, but not the whole. So no region has actually achieved it. Some countries have achieved the targets. Some actually have got to 90-95 targets. But globally, at regional level, we've actually got regions going backwards. So we've got rising infections in regions. The critical goal for us really is to get people to have achieve suppression of the virus in their body. Right? And that's the third of the 95s. That's where our ultimate goal is to get people. But if we're not able to get people into testing, if we're not able to then transition them into treatment and onwards to achieve control of the virus, suppress the virus in their body, we're not going to get there. And so we're well off track. That's the simple answer. And it's because of a combination of things that have been compounded with COVID in recent times. But we were already seeing challenges to meet the previous set of targets that countries set themselves. We don't set the targets, the countries set these targets, but they're not then investing where they need to make the achievements. So the global strategy is focused on equity, on the inequalities, the inequities that are in societies. And that can be geographic, it can be based on wealth. And even in one subpopulation or key population, if you take gay men, right? In a country like Canada, you'll have differentials amongst gay men. You can't say all gay men can access the same range of services. So in some countries, we're seeing great access to services in cities, but poor access in certain of the regions. Now, the data is there to show them where the epidemic is. So you don't need the same services everywhere if you don't have epidemics, right? And so the data is available, but we're not seeing the investment in decentralizing to the right places. Sometimes countries will do a full national scale program on prevention of mother-child transmission, when in most of the places they're doing it, they don't have the disease burden that would require that, right? So some are mis-targeting, over-servicing in places and under-servicing in others. There's issues of equity around wealth. In some countries, we're seeing massive gaps between the poor and the wealthy in access. Now, it's not just for HIV. This is not unusual. So these are the things that are in the political declaration, as well as the global strategy, is focusing on the issues that are the hardest for health, not just for HIV. It's not the usual sense that the wealthy north and the poorer south. These inequities are in all societies, and that's why the Global AIDS strategy is focused on this issue so heavily. And the political declaration, for the first time ever, has targets that countries set themselves to achieve, these 310 targets. And that's a challenge for the developed world. Right from the first political declaration in 2001, many of the countries sitting there making the ideas of what targets should be there were thinking of other countries that would have to do this. So I come from Australia, same as Canada. What was there for them? They have to report. They have to be able to show that they're achieving it. There are many developed countries where we have such disparities between different communities in the country. And that's why the equity focus is so critical to the response going forward. One of the issues that we saw with COVID, and we will see with any other pandemic that comes along, unfortunately, is the fact that we're not learning from the pandemics that we already have, right? HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, any of the pandemics we have. Why are we not learning the lessons? So COVID comes along and the same mistakes are being made. Fear-based responses, lockdowns, draconian measures in many places that stopped access, didn't engage the community to be a partner in understanding what is COVID, what is this pandemic that we need to address collectively. So it's not just the government systems, it's the community systems for health that need to be engaged to educate people. Well, to be honest, it took me by surprise. I wouldn't have thought there was a visa issue, and I don't fully understand the complexity of what was causing people to be rejected. But equity, when we talk about access to an international conference, which is sharing information globally, a host country needs to be able to make the right avenues to allow people who are coming. The experts on disease, pandemics, or whatever the topic is, are often from the communities at risk. And so it's not the first time, but it was surprising to see that it was happening today, that people were being rejected on visas. Some of them are working for the International AIDS Society, as we heard in the opening. So that was surprising that it was happening today. It's so critical that we get the right people in the discussions to set the new agenda, how to adjust current programs or policies, and share their expertise. So it then causes a sense of frustration, obviously, for the people who want to attend in person versus online. COVID has locked us into this virtual world, but so much of the dynamic engagement in a conference like this is that interpersonal connection and discussing issues. You hear a presentation on the latest science on an issue, and then you go and discuss it amongst yourselves. You take that learning back to your country. That's the disappointment of people being unable to join in person.